Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Down Syndrome Center podcast. As always, I'm your host, Dr. Kishore Volodi. And today we are joined with a repeat guest, but yet in a different role, that we're so excited to talk about Meredith Peterson, about her new role in the PEAL Center. Well, new for in a general term. You've been doing this for a bit, and we'll talk about that. But many of you may remember Meredith, who worked at our Down Syndrome Center as the program coordinator, and then she was the executive director of the Down Syndrome Association of Pittsburgh. So she's worn a lot of hats in this disability community. And Meredith, before I go too far into the podcast, why don't you share with our listeners who you are, what you're doing now, and why you love working with this population?
Yeah, thanks so much, Kishore. Yeah, I'm Meredith Peterson. I'm the executive director with the PEAL Center, which is the Parent Education and Advocacy Leadership Center here in Pennsylvania. So we are the statewide organization that serves families with disabilities all across. So we have 24 staff and really excited. But
Wow.
just a little bit about me. I am a parent. My oldest daughter has Down syndrome and she is finishing up her junior year. So very much all
Wow.
of the last before we're getting ready to all of the senior things.
Yes.
So very busy teenager and just excited about what comes next.
That's
So
fantastic. Yeah. And I'm sure she's been your inspiration to much of what you do, including your current position as well.
oh my goodness, absolutely. And one of the biggest pieces and why, the Peel Center, I mean, there's so many different, organizations that have been so instrumental along this journey, but when Macy was in preschool, I found that the Peel Center had a school year long training for parents to, just go over all of education law, understanding IEPs, learning about what goals are, what to ask for, learning about free and appropriate education, and just all of these things that I had no idea. I had no idea that I needed, let alone, learning, acronyms, education pieces, and who's even at the table, what even an IEP is,
Yeah.
and all of those things. And so that was so instrumental, to my early education journey. Again, as my oldest child, never setting foot in a school
Yeah.
outside of my own experience. And, now I'm navigating, coming into kindergarten with, coming in on an IEP. It's not like you're going into kindergarten registration, you're already part of the school district. And, now we're coming in on this step. So the
Yeah.
Peel Center was so instrumental in setting me up for success at the beginning that that's one of the big pieces why I'm so thankful to be part of this organization now is because we're here for families.
Yeah.
I want other parents to have similar experiences that I've had. I want, as my daughter is, navigating this soon to be transition experience. That's also one of the big things we do. We have a whole youth team that's empowering youth. So not only am I living it at home, I'm watching it with youth and young adults across the state. So
That's so
I'm
cool.
so thankful for this organization and I'm just excited for
Yeah.
all of the incredible things we're doing.
Yeah, I'm sure you're thinking way back then, you would have thought, well, you never would have imagined that you would be leading this organization that's
Oh
been so
goodness, no.
impactful for you. Yeah, that's so great. All right, so let's pretend, and maybe it's not too far of a stretch actually. So let's pretend that somebody's asking you, what is the Peel Center? And they know nothing of the Peel Center versus a banana peel. Okay, let's just say they know nothing about it. How would you describe what is the Peel Center? Why do you exist? What do you do?
Yeah, so our biggest piece is we're here to we're empowering families, we're championing youth, and we're advancing inclusion.
Hmm.
So we are working with families with children with disabilities, ages birth to 26 here in Pennsylvania. So we have staff throughout the state that are able to help families. We do individual assistance. So if a parent calls in because they, are just maybe they're navigating a transition or have a question on an IEP or perhaps they're not able to get medical equipment that they need through medical assistance. We have a healthcare team as well. So we're able to, navigate the education system as well as navigating, some of the healthcare and, even medical assistance and therapies and getting access to all of those things. We also do trainings. So we do a lot of free parent trainings. And that's the other piece. This is all free to families. It's
Okay.
free to parents, free to youth. So we do, different trainings about what is an IEP, We have an online IEP Academy. So if somebody wanted to jump on our website, which I'm sure you'll share more information about that later,
Mhm.
they can jump right on that and do that for free. So that gives you the basics. You can follow us on social media to see our upcoming summer series that we'll be having. So there's different trainings that we want to make sure that parents are educated and that caregivers have the tools, to be able to navigate some of these things, and as well as transitions. Oh my
Mm.
goodness,
Yeah.
transitioning in from, high school into adult life. We have a checklist. It's called Preparing for the Future Checklist. And that's something that you can download right off our website. It is very specific to Pennsylvania, giving you all of the resources of where to go and what to do. But you can also, if you're outside of Pennsylvania, you could take it to your state and be able to, navigate and figure out what resources are comparable for that.
Mm.
But outside of Pennsylvania, a parent training and information center, every state has one.
Okay.
So you can find information. Every state has at least one. Some states, like New York, Texas, California, they have multiple PTIs. So maybe there's one that's just in your region. So, you can go directly. It's called the Center for Parent Information and Resources. It's called the SIPR. And they can give you the information of finding exactly where your parent center is. So you can get connected with another organization similar to PEAL. And I will say we're all fun acronyms. So,
I feel like everybody makes these acronyms, whether you're in
yep,
medicine or
yep,
education or
yep,
government, there's
yep,
always all kinds of
yep,
acronyms. So,
yep.
so how long has the Peel Center been doing this? Has this been around for a long time?
Yeah, so we started in 2005. So we are celebrating 20 years this year, which
Oh,
is so exciting.
yeah.
And we have offices in both Pittsburgh and Philadelphia. So one of the things that we're doing is we're having a great big celebration here in Pittsburgh, and then we're also having one in Philadelphia in the fall. So, it's so exciting to see, how we're able to cover the entire state to meet
Yeah.
families where they are.
That's fantastic. And when you mentioned PTI or parent training information, is that's what is that where you're referring to kind of the work that you're doing in order to help families get more empowered and get more information? That's what a PTI stands for, parent
So
training
yeah,
information.
so Parent Training and Information Center. So that is actually right out of the Individuals with Disabilities in Education Act, IDEA. So
Okay.
coming directly from the Department of Education. And it says that every state, as part of Part D in IDEA, says that every state must have a Parent Training and Information Center.
Got it.
And the statute put that in place specifically so parents have the tools and have the education, and youth have the information to be able to navigate the education system.
That's fantastic. Yeah, and as we know, without going into any details, of course, I mean, there's a lot of changes going on in the world these days, and I guess if you had to highlight, like, what is it that the Department of Education does, and how does it help students with disabilities? Like, how would you respond to that question?
Right. And I think absolutely. And I think the biggest piece that, the incredible benefit of having the Department of Ed is that it is at the federal level.
Hmm.
So it's working directly to oversee, to make sure that all of the states are providing free and appropriate public education, protecting the legal rights of, individuals with disabilities under IDEA,
Mm.
and Section 504, of the Rehabilitation Act. It ensures that all eligible children receive specialized instruction, related to services. We want to make sure that our kids with disabilities and complex healthcare needs have access to that free and appropriate education. So that's the huge benefit of having the Department of Education, is that it's overseeing every state and making sure that everyone is adhering to the same, compliance and protecting student rights.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Yeah, so important. I guess what I would also like to ask you today, like I know that you just mentioned that there were some things you guys were doing this summer through Peel.
mhm.
What are some things that you want to highlight, or something you want to maybe let us know about of what's going on that families might be able to access?
Yeah, I think our next big thing that I think is really going to be exciting, and it's a virtual training. So we're partnering with the Parents Place of Maryland, so PPMD, and we're providing a rights law training. So I don't know, many of you probably heard the name Pete Wright. Well, he will be actually the one conducting the training. So it is a day-long training directly from him, and it's September 18th, and you can visit our website, and we can probably put the link directly to register for that. but it'll be an incredible event, and you'll get all of the books. You'll get 3 books as part of the training as well. So you'll basically have all the tools you need to be able to walk into your IEP, to be able to bookmark, you know, all of the different things that you need. And
Yeah.
I personally have those books and have gone through his training a couple years ago, and just continue to dog ear those important pages and to learn about, how to navigate everything.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Well, anything else before we close the podcast today? Anything else you want to make sure that we highlight, or any summary that you want to give us today of what we've talked about?
Yeah, I just think, just to continue to, if any family is, looking for additional trainings, we also, if you want us to conduct a training for your local task force, for a parent group, for a local organization, anyone here in Pennsylvania, we can provide that free of charge for you, for, as long as it's for families. So
Yeah.
to reach out to us, we can do it in person. We can come directly, to a parent night, in an evening, or we can do something virtual. We would love to do events with your youth as well. If
Mm.
you have a teenager that needs to get involved, we do have, some different youth advocacy councils that we have, and some different youth empowerment events that will be coming up in the fall, some great ways to get involved. So, yeah.
That's fantastic. Yeah, I know that we've worked together in many ways directly over the years, but also we've been able to utilize the services of the Peel Center for so many of our families, being able to
Yeah.
have that ability to say, "Oh, I know the place where you can get that assistance that you need." I think that's something that we should never take for granted. And
No.
yeah,
No,
yeah.
it is for sure a vital resource. And, I'm excited to see, what's coming next, as we continue to expand and grow. And, so follow us on our social media channels, subscribe to our newsletter. We do have a biweekly newsletter, and some new things that will be coming up. We're looking to add, a youth component to our newsletter where, youth voices will be able to participate and to write for those things too. So many ways to get involved.
Yeah, really exciting. Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Meredith, for joining us on the podcast today and speaking about this group that you were obviously quite passionate about.
Yeah, thank you so much, Kishore. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, and to our listeners, if there are any topics that you would like us to cover on the podcast, please send me an email at downsyndromecenter@chp.edu. And if you'd like to join us in the work that we're doing here at our Down Syndrome Center, including this podcast, you can go to givetochildrens.org/Down Syndrome Center. But until next time, bye-bye.